January 55, which was a snowstorm, Operation Snowdrop. The straight road towards Dunray from Thurso, past Force, was so filled with snow between the hedges that it remained shut for 3 weeks, and Sutherland's contractors in Thurso, they had a dig each end to clear the road, so that was 3 weeks closed. And the lifeboat actually went round from Scrabster to Ray with such essentials as whisky and beer, and that was about it. I think there was a few loaves of bread and so. But the communication with Thurso or with the outer world was Thurso or Scrabster with the lifeboat to Ray. And for 3 weeks, Ray was looked after by the lifeboat. Not every day, but that was a memorable song.
Operation Snowdrop, Ian was retained by the Daily Express, and Magnus Magnusson was the young reporter who came up to cover this event. And of course nothing much was happening. There were helicopters which were new on the scene, the first time helicopters had been used in that type of situation. The helicopters were coming in and they were going out, and all the pressmen were gathered at the airport. They was to scheme up things to do that they could maybe have a scoop on the other papers. So the Daily Express, Magnus Magnusson and Ian decided that it would be a good idea and a real scoop to walk into Braemore and relieve Braemore, who had been cut off for weeks. So they did, with a very devious way, they took a fishing boat. Because they were being spied on by the other pressmen, the fishing boat turned north until it was out of sight, and then it went off south to Dunbeath, let them off. With a guide, with one of the postmen, they walked into Braemore. Now, if it had not been for that man, they would never have survived, because they would have been in a snowdrift well over their heads. But he knew the signs, he knew the telegraph poles, because just the tops of the telegraph poles were sticking out of the snow. He knew to get them in, and they relieved Braemore, and they had front page of the Daily Express with a little picture of both Ian and one of Magnusson. And then, of course, once they'd been there, and the people were very pleased to see them, but they realised then they had to walk back. But they did, and the Daily Express had to send a helicopter to Dunbeath to get them back to Wick. So they arrived in Wick, and a helicopter landing, and all the press photographers dashed forward to see who this was, and off gets Ian and Magnusson, and they looked absolutely disgusted. They threw their films in the snow.
The Snowdrop storm, 1955. It was a lovely morning, and I was still staying in Leicester at the time. Walked down to school in the morning, fine. Came back up at lunchtime. It was starting to snow, and the house estate came in, and he said, "Oh, well, that's it now. The roads will be blocked before very long." So when I went out the door, down the street came David Banks, who used to be a woodwork teacher, with his old banger of a car, and he'd get in, and from then on it was chaos. The roads were blocking. People couldn't get in to get their kids, and at that stage it was junior secondary, and there was kids from Burrydale and Dunbeath, Latheran, right up the coast and down the coast. So it was panic. What do we do? A lot of the people in the village came and took, if they had nieces or nephews or anybody they knew, they took them. But we were left with about 50 kids. So the Portland said they would take them. So with a struggle, holding on tight, we got them up the road to Portland, worked them out into family groups, and got rooms for them, and they provided food for them. As the night went on, it became more chaotic, because out of the snow would come people who had been trapped in cars, and they were looking for accommodation, so we'd have to reshuffle. And we had some of them for 3 or 4 days. Had read about walking along the top of the telegraph poles, and I never believed it. Well, going down the dip at Reesgill, it was like that, and it was like that for weeks. That was kind of first time that helicopters were used, and the helicopters were used to drop bales of hay in the fields for the sheep, and it was quite an experience. Quite an experience.
I was involved deeply with snow. Some houses was completely covered in 1955. I mind the gamekeeper's house, him was always chasing me. His house, the snow was drifting in. Well, all we could see was the snow tapering from nothing right up like that, and it was buried in it. The snow was chronic, but by the time I started work, they would come for me in the house and tell me, if you go and cut roads in the snow, you'll get the same money as you got as working at shiners. My mother would say to me in the morning, you'll have to go to the Halkirk, and she made a line for what she was wanting, and then I had to get for Donald Campbell's folk. And someone else I can't mind now much, but three is the most I could cater for because I was carrying on my back. Yeah, and I came home in the darkness because I spent the most of the day in it. By the time I got to Halkirk, got all my messages and did everything else, it was dark by the time I got home in Spell. I would look all the day and going, never sit down if you're tired, if it's snowing. He says, because you'll stiffen up and you'll die. You'll stiffen up and die. But I never did, I kept going. And if I was really tired, if I came on a deck or something I could lean on, I would lean on it properly, but I never would. That's further to go for my feet. It was way below zero. 5 mile off and 5 mile back. That's 10 mile. Deep going. And so coming home, you had a bag on your back as well. Bread, sugar, tea, no luxuries. No luxuries at all. Couldn't afford it, and we couldn't carry the whole of it anyway. She usually wanted a packet of washing powder. Oxidil was anyway. Do you mind that? Get a packet of Oxidil if you can, or Renzo. That was anyway too. One shop in the business of Franciana, his was sold out long before that, and he couldn't get nothing. And either E. Campbell from Wick supplied him with all most of his groceries, and but he couldn't get up here. The helicopters come in to feed the sheep and the cattle.
Oh, Operation Snowdrop. We were in Stroma then, and I remember waking up in the morning and snow had covered the house. I remember my father opening a window and taking in buckets of snow to melt so we could have water. He must have been warned because he'd taken in a spade, shovel, which he had to dig his way around to the byre to tend to the animals. And I think we got food dropped in from a helicopter.
One winter, the school became the location for the landing of a helicopter to deliver emergency food supplies during a snowstorm which disrupted travel in all of Caithness and North Sutherland. But I remember that our food parcel contained American Project aircraft carrier anchored in Loch Erible in North Sutherland.
The snowstorm in 1955, Operation Snowdrop, that's when the helicopters were going around, and I was going off to school at that time when I was 11. I went off to West Railkeys in Aberlour and finished up at Altar, Seamus Gordon's in the Better. I think I was home for about a fortnight that year because the trains were stopped. They were still on horses and carts then. I don't think they were electrics then. They did manage to get the horses and carts into the town. The cattleman's son was there down the stadium here. He was a couple of years younger than me. We dug a tunnel into the stackyard and the stacks right round it and fill us with stacks, corn stacks. The snow had come up over and there was a great big fan from the top of the stack right down over to the dyke alongside the house. I think the milkmans must have come tight up to the dyke to get down the road, but we dug in I think it must have been about 10 foot of a tunnel to reach the dyke, and with a tunnel that's lay here for about 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, in 1955, Operation Snowdrop, the helicopter flying around. Gee, it was deep that year. We had to dig out the house in the morning. My grandfather opened the door and all I could see was a wee bit on the top. It took a fair while to get out the cattle that day, and they'd dig down the doors, and I think my father had to take a door actually off the hinges. It was a sliding door, so I thought it was easier to bring the door off and pull it out a hole than slide it back to get a tractor out. And they got the milk into Wick on the train because the roads was at fill. The train would come along and stop at the crossing, and all the farmers would gather round and put their cans on, and off we go into Wick. It's unbelievable the depth of snow was them days, you know.
When we were kids there was always loads of snow, and if you were lucky you could start in McCrae Street and go down McCrae Street, down MacArthur Street and right down the Shore Road. There was no traffic, and of course the snow to go on the Shore Road, but somebody would take you down on their back, and there was always somebody hit the rail at the bottom and landed in the harbour. And there was this young boy, it was what we called Bill Smith's roadie, That's the one that takes you up from the harbour into Bank Road, where the first bombs dropped. And he had been sledging on that little bit, and came down and hit the parapet, hit the wall, and landed in the harbour. And this gentleman went in after him, got him out, and then he said, "Will you get my sledge?" He wanted him to go back for his sledge.
Wick, viewed from the top of Newton Hill in the snow, fabulous. For Operation Snowdrop, where a huge snowstorms, was that 1955? But there we were up in Iscroft on the top of a hill, and it started doing this very serious snowing, and it just fell and fell and fell. And Warcroft to see snow ain't big. One Monday morning when I went out and opened the door of the porch to go out, but there was no going out because the snow went completely from floor to the lintel of the door. You could see a little glow of light coming through it, but we had to break our way out through snow to get out of the house. We were sent to Leetoon as soon as heavy snow started, because Mum wasn't going to have us miss any school. We'd go and live with my granny in a week. But to get there, we went down that lovely hill, that straight, classic, steep hill, Newton Bray, and head was 12 feet high in snow. The snow cutting had come through it, and along the length of it, they'd made niches in the snow at the side, so that if you were walking down the road and you saw a car or a tractor coming, you ran until you got in a niche, and then that allowed them not to slow down or to stop on the way up the hill. But we went into the town and it was lovely. The snow was everywhere. One of my friends said, "Are you coming out sledging?" So I says to Granny Stewart, "I'm going sledging." "That's fine, dear, off you go." And we went off to the shore rod. Now here's one of the jewels of Wick, and here's where the Wick bairns, the town bairns, had it better than the country ones. They had this beautiful, long, straight, steep road to go sledging on. One tiny disadvantage was that there was a harbour at the bottom of it, but you spent a big, wide, strong snow wall on a road in front of the harbour, so you wouldn't go into the harbour. And what fun on the sledges, what speed, what friendship. Just that notion. Other people go skiing, they can keep their skiing. And we just loved doing a belly flop on a sledge down Shore Road. It was beautiful.
My most exciting memory of Operation Snowdrop was of police appealing for residents in Akergoth Street and Akergoth Crescent to take the cinders from their fire up to the school and make a big black circle in the snow, as they were expecting the arrival of a helicopter and needed to mark a landing area in the school field. All major roads in the county were blocked, and the helicopter conveyed a woman in labour and someone who had broken their leg. Both were dealt successfully in the Henderson Cottage Hospital respectively.
My father worked at the airport. He was a charge hand fitter with his Civil Aviation Authority. He was based at Wick Airport. One of his responsibilities was keeping all the vehicles on the airport running. He had a workshop, and he actually in 1956 he received the British Empire Medal because of the work that he did during Operation Snowdrop here. He kept all the vehicles running, actually to the point, as it said in the citation, to the point of lying in snow and ice underneath these vehicles.